All right, Zatima fans. Now, I truly enjoyed the final two episodes of Zatima season 2. Had a great time going back through the comments of the finale reviews from last week too. I just love seeing the discussion because I think what really made the finale or the final week of episodes stand out, the fact that there was just such a relatability to Jeremiah and Zach and their mom, going through what they were going through with Gladys being on life support, both sons being on opposing ends of the spectrum as to whether or not Gladys should be taken off of life support, and then the looming threat of the accounts being frozen. So even if Zach did not want to take their mother off of life support, he couldn't have afforded it. That's one kind of, I'm not going to rescore the episodes. They stand at a 10 out of 10, but looking back, I do feel like maybe I should have docked off maybe like at least one sliver of a point, because we really didn't get to see Zach's reaction to the accounts being frozen because he was ignorant to the entire situation. You had Bryce, who was trying, at every turn to get in contact with Zach about this, but Fatima and then by extension Angela were preventing him from doing so. So from there, we go over to the hospital, and you have both sons figuring out what to do. I mean, I wouldn't even say figuring out what to do. They pretty much both were already standing firm in their, beliefs. You have Jeremiah, who didn't want to let his mama go. And then you had Zach, who was looking at the reality of the situation that their mom isn't coming back. They lost her from the brain damage, being unresponsive. And on top of that, $18,000 per day. $18,000 per day to keep her on that machine. And just like, families in general, there's always going to be the debate of, keeping this person alive versus the other person who is like, it's best to let him go. And it's funny because this reminds me of the seeing Jeremiah and Zach going back and forth in Gladys's hospital room. And then when they were sitting outside in the hallway, the back and forth really reminded me of the movie Kingdom Come. The movie that was kind of like soul playing, in that it had just damn near every black actor in the game. You had Anthony Anderson, LL Cool J, Whoopi Goldberg, Vivica A. Fox, Jada Pinkett Smith. Wasn't Tony Braxton in there? I'm pretty sure Tony Braxton was in there. You had Cora from the Tyler Perry stuff, Tamla Mann in the choir. You had Cedric the Entertainer, and the list goes on. Eddie Winslow was in that movie too. Loretta Devine. Okay, I'll stop. But it was a lot of people. And there was the part where everybody was over at the house deciding on the funeral plans for Brother Slocum. He was a mean and surly man. And you had Anthony Anderson's character and LL Cool J. I think his name was Ray in the movie. They were discussing how to go about getting the funeral arrangements put together. It's like, I'll never forget Anthony Anderson. Like, the one quote from that movie I always love to just quote out of nowhere. It's like, my vote's for the Heavenly Express. And it's like, he wants to throw this big, huge funeral and whatnot. And then Ray's like, yeah, you coming in here talking all big about throwing the big funeral for daddy. You think he would have done the same for you? Well, you're wrong. And then it's like the one who is making like the biggest plans for the funeral is the one who has the least money to contribute. So for Jeremiah, remember, because Fatima was told by the person from the billing department that, oh, well, Mr. Taylor's brother said that he would cover the bills. Like, of course he would. So it's like, yeah, Gladys was 2 days behind, so that's $36,000 plus the 18 from the day that's currently taking place in the show. So that's like $54,000. And it's just one of these situations where the blame was pointed at Zach by Jeremiah. That is your fault she's in this situation because you ain't give her that money. But it's like anytime Zach shows up, because remember, Zach showed up to get them to go to the therapy with him. And the sad fact that he had to pay his family just to talk with him is ridiculous. So every time he comes around or they call him, they want money. So the fact that they took the money from him and then she chose to go out there and get high or whatever she was doing, to blame him is just so messed up on so many levels. And there's always that guilt of, Zach probably feeling like it's his fault, but thankfully you got Fatima there and then his friends and whatnot to kind of put him in the mind space of, no, this wasn't your fault. Your mom made her own choices. So yeah, I think that the most nastiest thing that Jeremiah did was try to put Zach at fault for their mom being on her deathbed. All the years of saying, you owe me because I took the fall for you, this, that, and the third. I feel like that's nothing compared to that one moment where Jeremiah blamed his brother for their mother's death. It's just so messed up. Definitely one of the darker moments of the show when you really think about it. Yeah, we had some pretty dark stuff like, Aaron's ex-wife killing herself in front of Karen. Then that brother trying to kill Karen. Or Jasmine with the gun shooting Gary and then trying to kill Andy. What's his name? Jonah? Is it Jonah? The guy that tried to kill Danny, spat in her face and then beat her up and whatnot. There's that, but there's just a huge gut punch from the whole, am I the one responsible for my mom's death? So that's something that I felt stood out to me personally during the final 2 episodes. Zach wrestling with that revelation, but also coming to the fact that, hey, at the end of it all, my mom did love me and my brother. She tried her best, but, she made her own choices. But yeah, Jeremiah was low down for that. But then I just love the fact that Zach recognized this dude is high, so he's speaking out of his ass, and he just chose not to let what his brother was saying impact him. So, with that being said, let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. Like and subscribe, and I'll catch you in the next one.